All right. Welcome to your Arizona real estate update. I'm Todd Probasco, VP of Mortgage Lending here at Lakeside Bank. And I'm so excited to have our guest on today, my new friend and real estate expert there in the Phoenix market, JaLynn Manser from Call It Close International Realty. JaLynn, how are you today?
Hey, Todd, I am doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me. I really am looking forward to this.
Absolutely. I love Arizona. I love real estate. And I've gotten to know you over the past week. And I think this is going to be exciting for us and anybody who's going to be watching to find out what's going on in and around Phoenix when we're talking about real estate, mortgages, and what's going on in the market. So without further ado, why don't you give us a little background on who you are, where you're from, and what position you're currently in there in Phoenix with your company.
Absolutely. So I will try and keep this as brief as possible. So currently live in downtown Phoenix with my lovely husband, Kelly. And I just started a new position as the designated Arizona broker for a new brokerage called Call It Closed International Realty based out of Naples, Florida. They've been looking for somebody to open up Arizona for quite some time, and I got blessed with the opportunity. So on a mission to grow the brokerage, help a lot of agents with the tools and trainings that we have available, and help them to keep 100% of their commission. So definitely have a servant's heart, all about giving back, leading from the ground up, and it's more about giving than it is taking. So a little bit about me.
Yeah, that old theory, givers gain, right?
That's right.
Right. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a mortgage lender. I lend in all 50 states. Love everything about real estate. Love the Arizona market. Former property owner there. I frequent quite a bit. And it's a booming market. It's a great market for people looking to buy, sell, or finance. And I would think that after this call, if you're interested, you could reach out to either one of us and we'd be able to answer any questions you might have. So without further ado, let's jump into what's going on in the market. Today is Friday, April the 4th, 2025. And you'd have to be living in a cave right now if you didn't know that the market is shifting and changing and volatile, whatever you want to say. We have the tariff thing going on. We have the start of a world trade battle. And what is that doing to the market? Well, the bond market is responding like I thought it would. Actually, so is the stock market. Things are going down. We knew that was going to happen. It's called a correction. Everyone always wants to know what are current interest rates. So with what's going on, I look at it all day, every day. So when the market opened today, rates have slipped. So here we are today with 15-year, everything's with no points. Just if you were to get a mortgage, a 15-year rate is down to 5.375. That's amazing that we've gone that low. And the 30-year fix is down to 6.125. When you think about, what was it, 4 or 6 months ago, we were knocking on the door at 7% on almost every deal. So if you're thinking about buying, or you might need to refi because you bought in the last year or two, it'd be a good time to get a quote and see what's available. With that being said, JaLynn, have you seen an increase in activity based on what's going on in the market with money becoming cheaper because of this tariff thing and everything going on in the bond market?
That's a great question, Todd. It really depends on what part of the valley you're talking about. There are certain areas, like Scottsdale, Paradise Valley, parts of Phoenix, parts of Peoria that are definitely seeing an increase in activity. And we're still seeing a lot of sellers are giving, concessions to help buy down the interest rates for buyers that are wanting to get into the market, but they are maybe a little bit concerned about the interest rates. It has picked up a little bit, not significantly enough, in my opinion. Like there's a lot of buyers out there that are still kind of sitting on the fence because they're nervous about the market. They don't want to pay too much for the home, number one, and they don't want to get into an interest rate that's going to make them house poor, so to speak.
Yeah. The good news is I think it's going in the right direction, and we knew that was probably going to happen. So it's a lot of positive news. If is your 401k value going down? Yes. But does it give you the opportunity to maybe buy or sell and you've had to put that on hold for the last year or two? So there's a give and take, right? I mean, that's kind of where we're at. You mentioned the seller buy down. A lot of people are curious how that works. It's kind of an interesting thing that I think there's opportunity for that still in the market. So for those of you watching, like if JaLynn had a client who was looking to buy and I was doing the mortgage pre-approval, and as I mentioned before, the 30-year rate is at 6.125, right? And if that buyer was looking for a deal and the seller was looking to make a deal, there's the chance that JaLynn could negotiate on behalf of her client to get that seller to help cover the cost to buy the rate down. What does that mean? So if today's we're at 6.125, if the seller's willing to pay 1 point or 1% of the loan amount, that buyer might be able to get a 30-year fix down under 6%, maybe at 5.875. And that just comes out of the closing costs at the end for the seller. No money up front. It's all handled at the table. And the buyer benefits for as long as they keep that mortgage. And the seller still gets to sell their house, probably at a good price because everything's selling near list price now.
Yeah.
It's kind of a win-win for both. Do you have anything else to add on that?
It's truly a beautiful thing. And I always tell buyers, I'm like, it's free money. Why wouldn't you take it? It's there. Like, just open your hands and like, thank you.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of confusion around the buy down, and I won't get into the weeds too much about it, but it's just a difference between the cost of one rate to the other. And that's how much you're paying to buy down the rate, whether it's a quarter point, half a point, or whatever. And it's very simple. I would just say, don't worry about trying to figure it out. Just reach out to Todd. He'll do all the math for you and tell you exactly, what that's going to cost and how much we need to ask for from the seller. On that note, not only to help buy down the interest rate, but a lot of sellers still are giving additional monies to help with closing costs, in the event the buyer needs that as well.
Yeah.
So there's lots of free money out there still.
There is. And, I always I can't stand people who don't hire people that are licensed with experience. I don't care what you're doing in life. You hire an attorney for a reason. You hire a licensed real estate broker for a reason. You hire a licensed mortgage lender for a reason. If you're thinking about buying or even selling to know what your options are, people like JaLynn and myself are here to help you and guide you. And there's a reason why we have a license and experience. And like you said, don't try to figure it out. We're here to help you, and we can answer any questions and tell you if it makes sense or not. And when you look at the bottom line, usually when you look at your options and what we're going to put in front of you, it's usually going to be a win-win. So
yeah. And not only in terms of, buying down the interest rate and doing the math on that and closing costs and whatnot, we are here for you as a team to help you get the best deal. We're here to help you win.
Yeah. We probably got a little bit of time left. Why don't we explain your new exciting company in Phoenix? Tell us about the company, what you got planned, what it offers. It's exciting. I mean, I think it's kind of cool. So why don't you share with us about your company and what's going on there?
Absolutely. So I just wanted to start by saying I was not looking to make a move. I was not looking for this opportunity, but it was looking for me, apparently. So I looked at the opportunity. I met the founders of the company, Chad and Aprilli Osborne, based out of Naples, Florida. And they started this company back in 2019. And when COVID hit, they just kind of put everything on hold, like many of us did, right? And they took the time to get the systems in place, make sure everything was working smoothly. Currently, the brokerage is in 4 countries and currently in 20 states. I'm the 20th state here in Arizona. And we're sitting at about 375 agents currently. Wow. So we are looking forward to some rapid expansion here in the next couple of years. The first 500 agents that join Call It Closed International Realty, they get 1,000 shares of stock. So that's super exciting. And outside of that, Call It Closed International Realty does offer 100% commission. There's no split. You pay no split to your broker, which is amazing. Like, who doesn't want to keep all of their commission, right?
Right.
very low flat fee model, $399 per transaction, regardless of the sales price. And there's also opportunity for those who want to take advantage of it to get equity shares of the company. You can opt to give part of your commission check to purchase stock at a 10% discounted rate. And if that's not enough, there's also an opportunity to take advantage of revenue share where you get paid as if you're a broker without having the liability of being a broker, meaning that agents that you attract, you get paid on their production. So there's like just so many more cool things I could say, but I don't want to take up any more time on this.
No,
interview.
it's exciting. And I can tell with what you're sharing and getting back to giver's gain, you are building a business that is going to be successful, but also rewarding the people that work there. So you don't see that a lot in the world these days. So that's I think it's going to be a win-win. On my side, I'll just add this, and then we'll probably wrap up with a few closing statements. I don't want to say that things have gotten relaxed, but it seems like we're starting to make a little bit of a turn to where underwriting and guidelines are becoming a little bit more user-friendly. So, as long as I always tell people, we're not going to the grocery store to get a loaf of bread. We're talking about getting a mortgage and buying a house. As long as you have your ducks in a row, you have your pay stubs and your tax returns to get pre-approved and understand what your options are. It's a pretty easy process these days. And I strongly suggest, and hopefully you do too, that should be the first thing you do, is get your finances in order to find out what is available to you before you start running around Phoenix with JaLynn looking at properties and find out that maybe the numbers don't make sense. I hope you agree that I think we should get the money and the finance set up first, go look at properties, and then kind of bring the whole thing together. It kind of makes the whole process a little easier. You agree with that?
Absolutely. You want to come to the process with a loaded gun, so to speak. You want to be ready to like aim and fire and not have any issues or concerns, getting into the escrow process, finding out at the very tail end of the escrow, like, oh my gosh, I'm not qualifying now because I can't show 2 years of pay history or whatever the guideline is, right? You want to make sure you have all of that stuff in place up front. And just wanted to speak to you, Todd. I know that you're super accessible. If there's an agent that wants to take a buyer out and they're interested and motivated, you're very easy to get a hold of. You're highly responsive, and you'll get that pre-approval over to the agent when they need it within just a very short period of time.
I appreciate that. And I will follow it up with saying you're the same way. I sometimes I shake my head when I'm trying to get a hold of real estate brokers and I can't get a call back. And again, we're not going to the drugstore. We're talking about $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 transaction. It's not required, but I think it should be, that you have to be responsive and in a timely manner. And you are awesome when it comes to that. And if anybody's watching this, if you have any questions about buying or selling or financing, please reach out to us. It's free to talk to us. We just told you we're always available. I will put the contact information below the video for both of us, so you guys anybody watching can email, call, or text us with any questions when it comes to doing a real estate deal in and around the Phoenix area.
Yeah.
I'm
a huge texter.
Yeah, me too. It's fast and easy, right?
Yeah.
I guess I'll finish by saying, JaLynn, you are a breath of fresh air. I think you're going to do amazing with your new company in Phoenix. It's going to be fun to watch you grow and the success of what's going to be happening at Call It Closed International Realty. And I'm kind of honored to know you and be a part of it as you proceed. Don't forget me when you become this big multi-million-dollar person. Don't forget your little friend Todd over here that was with you from the beginning. No, I'm just kidding. But it's exciting. And I think the rest of 2025 is going to be exciting. We're going to be going through some change. I think everybody knows that. Change is good. Some people have trouble with change, but if we're starting to, balance the rules and look out for what's best for the United States, and we're trying to make things better. It's not not everybody agrees with everything. We're never going to make everybody happy, but if we're going in the right direction to where we're kind of getting out of the mud and making money a little bit more accessible and cheaper and helping people buy and sell, I think everybody benefits from that. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the year and see what it brings. How about you? What are your thoughts here as we close this out?
I am too. Thank you for all of the wonderful things you said about me, Todd. I appreciate it. I would say the same back at you. You've been amazing to work with, and I look forward to a long-lasting relationship. And I would just say to our audience, to those listening or watching right now, like, don't get too comfortable. Like, always be willing to learn and grow and try something new, try a different approach. Like, that's going to be my motto for 2025. Don't get too comfortable.
I love it, and step out of the box, and I saw this cartoon today that said, sales is easy. You just got to dive in. And it had this guy, he was on a ladder that was like 50 stories in the air. Sometimes you might feel like that no matter what you might be doing in life. You know what? Jump in. You're going to be glad you at least tried. I think you'll regret it down the road if you didn't give something a try, no matter what it is. So
that's right. Jump in with faith, not fear.
Love it. All right. So on behalf of myself and JaLynn, I want to thank everybody who's watching or listening. Again, I'll have the contact information for both of us below the video. We will do this again, hopefully on a regular basis. So if you liked what you hear, next time we might be able to talk about some properties and what's going on in the market. Today was more of an overview on what's going on today in the world, and because everybody's wondering, because there's a lot going on in the world right now. And but we're going in the right direction. So on behalf of both of us, thank you for watching and listening, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks. Oh, say hi to my husband, Kelly.
Hi, Kelly. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good.
Thanks, Todd. This has been super fun.
Thank you.
Whoa.